Hi everyone, so let's continue with the video lecture series on shell scripting. Now I will explain to you all the different wildcard symbols which are used while listing the files on your Linux file system. Suppose you are in a particular folder on your Linux, and when you type ls asterisk, it means display all the files in your current folder. I repeat, ls asterisk means display all the files in your current folder. ls a asterisk means display all the files whose name starts with A. So this means A followed by asterisk. So all the files whose names are starting with A, please display them. ls asterisk.c means display all the files which are having .c extension. So only files which are having a .c extension are being displayed. ls ut asterisk.c means display all the files or list all the files whose name starts with ut followed by any characters and ending with .c. So it should start with ut, it should end with a .c, and it can have any characters in between. ls question mark means it will list all the files whose names are just one letter long. ls fo as question mark means list all the files whose name starts with fo followed by one letter, and that one letter can be any letter. ls open bracket abc close bracket asterisk means I am repeating this particular letter 0 or more times. ABC means it can be either A or B or C. So all the file names which are combination of ABC are being displayed here. This means list all the files from /bin folder and whose names need to start with or need to be of a combination of A, B, C. This hyphen means a range. How did we specify ABC here? We explicitly gave the letters A, B, C. That means this particular entity can be either A or B or C, and then repeat it 0 or more times. This means give a range of letters A to C. So A, B and C also comes in this category because it is A to C. And repeat it 0 or more times. This particular expression means list all the files from bin folder which are not starting with A to O. So A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. So except these letters, if it is starting with any other letter other than A to O, please list them out. So exclamation is also sometimes substituted with the caret sign. So this and this are exactly the same. So this will also list all the files from bin folder which are not starting with letter A to O. So it should start with any letter other than A to O. So these are some sample wildcard examples that I have given you. Now, till now we have written a simple shell script which prints hello world on the screen, which prints calendar on the screen. Now we'll try to understand how to pass command line arguments to your script, so that we can take arguments from command line and use them in your script. Okay, a simple example of passing command line is a tail command in Linux. So there is a tail command in Linux which gives you the last 10 lines of a file MVF. So MVF is a file name, minus 10 meaning give last 10 lines of this file. So to this tail command we are passing two command line parameters. One is this value 10 and second is the file name. So these are the two command line parameters that I have passed to the tail command. So this is a very good example of using command line arguments into your command, right? So similarly, we can pass the command line arguments to our shell scripts. So these are the very important notes that I have listed here as far as the command line arguments goes. Remember that $# gives you the number of arguments which are specified on the command line. I repeat, $# gives you how many arguments are specified on the command line to your shell script. And $* or $@ symbol refers to all the arguments which are passed to your script. Clear? So please note that at a time only 9 such command line arguments can be passed in your shell scripts, and those are taking the placeholders $1, $2, $3, $4 till $9. So $1 will mean the first command line argument, $2 will mean the second command line argument, $3 third command line, $4 fourth command line. So it goes up till $9, which is the 9th command line argument that has been passed to your script. So please remember that we cannot assign a new value to the command line argument's positional parameter. For example, $1, as I have just said, it depicts the first command line argument that is passed to your script. So we cannot save a different value into that. Same goes with $2. It's a command line argument which is the second in your command line argument list. So we cannot assign a new value to it. Clear? So let's use these command line arguments in our scripts. So I have one script here which will demo the usage of command line arguments. Okay. So what am I doing? So this is the script and this is the output that it will give. So let me explain to you all this line by line. First I am printing on the screen total number of command line arguments are, and this is the count. $# gives the count of how many command line arguments I have passed. So while executing this script, I had given two command line arguments to it. The first command line argument that I had given was Viraj, and second command line argument I had given was tutor. So I had given two command line arguments to this script. The first one was Viraj, second one was tutor. That's why what I'll do is I'll explain one line and I'll explain the output also together. Okay. So the first line says total number of command line argument are $# is count, right? So it prints on the screen total number of command line arguments are, and it prints value 2. Okay. So it prints the value 2. So here I had passed two parameters, Viraj and tutor. That's why it printed me total number of arguments that was passed were 2. Next line says $0 is a script name. So remember that $0 positional parameter means the script name that I am executing. So in place of $0 it prints script.sh. So script.sh is the name of this script that I have written. So $0 prints the name of the script which I am executing. $1 means the first argument which I had passed as Viraj. $2 is the second argument which I had passed as tutor. And last line, what I am saying here is all of them are, that is I want to print all the command line parameters which I had given on the screen. and to that you can either use $* or $@. So I've used both here to depict, give an example, right? So all of them are $*, that means it will print all the command line parameters, or $@, so it will again print all the command line parameters on the screen. So the output is this. It will say all of them are Viraj Tutor or Viraj Tutor. Why did it print Viraj Tutor 2 times? That is because you can print all the command line parameters either using $*, which is this, or $@, which is this. So actually I just passed Viraj space tutor as 2 command line parameters, which you can print on the screen either using $*, which it has printed, or $@, which it has printed. So these are 2 different ways to print the command line parameters. Clear? Now let's discuss the variables in shell scripting. You can have entity called variable in which you can assign some value, use that value in different computations, change the value in that variable whenever you need. You can also use that variable for echoing the content of the strings. So variables have lots of usage in shell scripting. You can keep on changing the value of it, you can assign to it, you can use the value of it in your logic. So the first block that I have here, what am I doing here? I'm assigning a value called foo to this variable called var. Please remember that you cannot have a spaces before equal to and after equal to sign. Please type it exactly the way I have given. We cannot have a space before and after this equal to sign. So var equal to foo means it will assign a value foo to a variable var. And how to access this variable var? To access this variable, you have to use a $sign. So please use $sign to access the value of this variable. So I am echoing $var. That means it will print value foo on the screen. Simple. Okay. This is how to assign a value to a variable and use it. To use it, use a $sign, and to assign it this way. What am I doing in this simple shell script? I am assigning a value Viraj Tutor to a variable name. Then I am doing unset on this particular variable. Unset meaning you remove the value that was set to this variable and make it null. I repeat, remove the value that was set to this variable and make it null. And I am echoing that variable on the screen. It won't print anything. That is because after setting a value to it, I have unset it. So it won't print anything on the screen here. Now let's get into more examples on shell scripting. So what is this script doing? Let's try to interpret. First it will clear the screen. Then it will print on the screen, please enter your name. Whatever name that you type, that needs to be read into the system, right? It needs to be read into a variable. So how to do that? To do that, read is a command. So read followed by a name of the variable in which you want to save the name that user types in here on the screen. So as soon as user sees on the screen, please enter your name, he will type something. That value will be saved into a variable called name. Next statement I am saying, please enter your age. Whatever value that user types as a age will be saved into a variable called age. Next statement says, please enter whether you are male or a female. So whatever you type will be saved into variable sex. Next we are echoing this particular line. So what will this print? It will print, so you are a so and so. Whatever value that user had typed as age will get saved into age, right? How to access the variables? Using a $sign. So it will say, so you are so and so year old, whether you're male or female, and called so and so name. So this simple example, we are just printing on the screen messages to the user. Whatever he types in, we are saving it into variables. We're just combining all that into a beautiful sentence here. Some of them is a static text, and at some part we have the variable in that. Clear? I have optimized this program in this way. So this read command have a -p for printing this particular content on the screen. So instead of echoing and then reading, I am doing that both these operation into a single line. So how am I doing that? Just to read, please enter your name will come on the screen. Whatever you type in will get saved into variable name. Then I am saying read -p, please enter your age. Whatever age you type will be saved into variable age. Read please enter whether you are male or female, that will be saved into this variable. So I am echoing this line on the screen. Simple. Clear? Now we'll move into very important concepts on shell scripting. First is input output redirection. Whenever you write shell scripts, not always we want things to be printed on the screen. We want the output of some scripts to go into some file. Similarly, always we don't want inputs to the script to be read from the command line. We may want to accept it from a text file. Similarly, we always don't want the output of the script to overwrite a particular file. We may want to append the output of my script to a particular file. So how to do all these things? So the first command here is, what am I doing is ls. It will list all the files in the current directory, and instead of displaying it on the screen, whatever is the output of ls command, I am redirecting it to a file. So output of ls command won't come on the screen, but it will be returned to a file whose name is myfiles. This file name can be anything. So output of ls command will be returned to myfiles. And please notice carefully, I just have a single greater than sign here. That means every time when I run this ls and it will get its output, it will overwrite the contents of myfiles. So single greater than sign meaning I am expecting the output of this command to overwrite the contents of myfiles every time I run this command. Then I have a command date, and please notice carefully, output of the date I am appending to a file called myfiles. So every time I run this date command, the output of the date command won't be displayed on the screen, but it will be written in appended mode to myfiles. Okay. Next is a cat command. Using cat command, it displays the contents of a file. Correct? So what it displays the contents of the files. So what I am doing here is, with this I am reading the input to this cat command from file myfiles. So just like greater than sign meaning write the output to that file, less than sign meaning read from that file. So less than sign means it's an input redirection operator. Greater than sign meaning it's an output redirection operator. So this is the output redirection operator which overwrites the contents of myfiles every time I run it. This is again output redirection, but I am writing the contents of this command into this file in append mode. This symbol means it's an input redirection operator. Contents of myfiles are read as input to cat. Can we understand this? I am reading the contents of a file as name and I am giving it to the sort command. Sort command will read the contents of this file and sort the entries in them. and whatever entries which are sorted, it will write it not on the screen but a new file called sorted names. So let me explain this again. It will read the contents of file sname, it will sort its contents, and the sorted contents will be written to a new file called sorted names. Clear? Please notice carefully, the file sname won't be altered, it will be as it is because it is just being read. Then sort command will sort it, but the sorted entries are not written to sname but it is written to sorted names, because from sname we are just reading it, but we are writing it to a sorted names file. So the sorted entries will be written to sorted names, new file. Yeah. What am I doing here? I am reading a file called sname. tr is the command to do replacement. Okay, we are doing some transformations. So I am reading the entries from file sname line by line, and small a to z I am replacing it with capital A to Z. In short, I am converting the lowercase sentences in file sname to uppercase sentences, and the transformed lines will be returned to a new file called cap names. So sname again is just used for reading. It is read line by line, and small case letters are converted to capital case, and the capital case sentences will be returned to capital names. So this are input output redirection. You can output to a file, you can output in, so you can output in overwrite mode, you can output in append mode, you can read from a file, you can read from some file and output it to some other file. So these are very beautiful examples to depict those concepts. Okay, now we'll move on to a new concept called pipes. In pipes, what do we do? Pipe is a way to connect output of one program to the input of another program without any temporary file. I repeat, pipe is a way to connect output of one program to the input of another program without any temporary file. So there is no temporary file that we need to keep. You can directly redirect output of one command to input of another command using pipe, and it is depicted by one straight line. So this is a simple example of using pipe command. I am doing ls-l, so it will list the details of all the files in the current directory, and I am using a pipe, so its output will be given as input to the next command wc-l. That means it will read how many lines it has received, and it will print on the screen the count of the lines which ls-l command has given to it. So pipe is a very important concept in Linux which can be used to do massive operations. You can keep on nesting different command utilities and give the output of one command to another command, output of one program to another program. Clear? Here I am giving another example of a filter, how you can filter out text from the huge file. Interesting, right? How to filter out text from the huge file. So what, using these pipes and using these redirection operators, how to do that? Let's see. There is a file called hotel.txt which is a huge file. Okay, so I am reading that file and using a tail command I am reading it starting from the offset 20. So plus 20 meaning from the start of the file skip first 20 lines, and from after skipping first 20 lines, from 21st line you give all the contents. So this tail command will read from hotel.txt, it will skip the first 20 lines, and from 21st line it will till the end of the file it will give as output of this command. Now we are piping all those lines to another command. So what is this command? Head. So head will give the first 30 lines of what it has received from its previous command. And those first 30 lines is outputted to a file called hlist. So with this, we have filtered out only 30 lines from hotel.txt. So starting from line number 21st. So from 21st line, next 30 lines are outputted to a file hlist. I'll explain this again. We have a file called hotel.txt. So we are reading it from that file. So tail command is reading from that file. It is skipping the first 20 lines of that file, and from 21st line till end of file is outputted as part of this command. So that is piped to head. What head does, from whatever input it has got from this, it reads only the first 30 lines and output it to hlist. So hlist will get just the 30 lines from hotel.txt starting from 21st line, from that line till 30 more lines. Another example of using pipe and input output redirection. So what am I doing here? Sort command is reading from sname. It sorts the entries and gives that output to unique. So the sorted entries of this file are given as output to unique, which will just give the unique entries and output it to a new file called u_sname. That means only the unique lines are given as output in this file. Clear? So now we'll move on to the new test command or expressions in shell scripting. So test command or open bracket expression close bracket. So one of this. So what am I doing over here? Here I am checking. So over here I am doing if I am doing a test operation, $1 meaning the first argument that is passed to the script. I am checking whether it is greater than 0. So if the first argument is greater than 0, then I am printing on the screen the first argument number is positive. Simple. So this is a construct for if. If give a condition, use a then keyword. If this condition is true, it will execute whatever is in then, and fi is ending the if statement. So if fi is ending this if block, if this condition is true, then it will execute this statement. Clear? So what are the different operators which are used in this particular logical decision? One is logical NOT. So if you want to do a NOT operation, use exclamation sign, after that the expression. If you want to do logical AND operation, use expression 1, -a means AND operation, expression 2. That means it will take the first expression and do an AND condition on the second expression. And if both expressions are true, then only the entire expression is true. Next is logical OR. Over here, we check for the validity of the first expression or second expression. So if one of the two expression evaluates to true, the output of the entire expression will be true, else it will be false. Also, there are many other test conditions which are possible in shell scripting. -s followed by file name will check whether the file is empty. -f file name will check if this file exists and it is not a directory. -d directory will check whether this directory exists and it is not a file. -w will check whether this file has a write permissions. -r will check whether this file is read only. -x will check whether this file has a execute permissions.